I'm not sure I understand this episode. At first glance, I thought it was something else, but I was completely 100% wrong. So let's go through this together because I don't get it right now. I just don't. And welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina K-R-S-T-I-N-A. This is where I read books, talk about books, no special effects, no theme music, no fancy stuff going on here. And every single Friday we recap Star Trek Next Generation and or Star Trek Voyager. And we are up to 148 of season 3, disc 2, episode 148 or 48, depending on how you look at it. And we do get a captain's voice over. I'm not, it just, I don't know. There's just, you'll have to help me with this episode. And I asked last week and I'm going to ask again, would anybody want to join me? Because, I can't run this live, but we could all watch an episode of the show watch your own episode and talk about it in a live group chat. So we'll see how everybody watches their own. It's not shown on the computer screen, and we just talk about it, and we just talk through the episode. A couple of there'd be a couple ones that would be good for group discussion, but I need some of you I need 10 or 15 people to volunteer, otherwise I'm not going to do it. And it would probably be a Friday or Saturday night, depending on how things go. So anyways, or even a Sunday afternoon. We'll see what happens. So anyways, we are up to, remember, episode 148. Let's get started. As I have said in the past, there's a captain's log stardate. So you know what a captain's star log date means? It means we get an external view of the ship. As if you Trekkies didn't already know that. We're 3 days away from Enora Prime, home of the passengers we picked up from a colony in FEMA's system. Our high warp capability has greatly reduced the time it normally takes them to make the journey home. In return, the Enwins have shared their energy conservation technology with us, and perhaps more importantly, their friendship. Okay. So we're in engineering. We're with Bilanna and Miss Jensen here. And she says, "You've never been there?" And Jensen says, "Well, the trip back to the homeland usually takes so long, I don't to see it that badly. I've spent my whole life in the FEMA colony, and I've always considered it my home." So this elderly lady comes on and says that she'll change her mind about seeing her homeworld when she sees the Daniest cliffs at dawn. And the other lady says, "Yes, I've heard they're beautiful. You'll know what beautiful truly means when you stand on the cliffs on a rainy morning and watch the raindrops turn to mist when they hit the molten sea." "That sounds wonderful," Bilanna says. "It looks like our new components are still highly out of sync with your EPS," she says. "I can't answer late. We'll have to check through all of them. Maybe Harry could give us a hand. I'm sure he would if you asked. And Harry, you got a minute?" Apparently, somebody has a crush on Harry. And she wants him to help with the modified power relays. There's a minor problem. Okay, I'm not going to show all of this because it would take too long. But Bilanna's in bed on Voyager. Okay? She's in bed on Voyager. And apparently she's having a dream where her lover comes to the window and climbs in the window of her house. And they get together. You know, just before I go a little further with this, I would like to say that we all know she ends up with Tom Paris. But I guess she can dream about who she wants to dream about. But how did she know about this guy if she's never seen him before? Is the community mind melding something? It's just a thought. So Chakotay comes in and he wakes her up and he's like, you're 20 minutes late for your duty shift. And she explains to him that she's having these intense dreams. And she hasn't even met the guy in real life. As they walk to engineering, she tells him more about the dreams and their intensity. So apparently, Neelix has redecorated the cafeteria to look like the homeworld of these people. Let me see if there's anything else. So then Neelix comes out, and they're like, "It's really pretty, but it's kind of chilly in here." And he says, "Perhaps a bit chillier than you're used to, but it's perfect for the NRANs." And he's talking about all the decorations he did like that. Talk about more about the food and stuff he's done, and all the other stuff he's done in the mess hall. So the guy's playing this instrument, and Janeway's right there in front of him, and he offers to teach her how to play. So then it's revealed they have telepathic gifts, which explains Bilanna's dream. And Janeway plays it, and she plays it really well for someone who's never touched it before. And Tuvok says, your abilities allow you to transfer knowledge from your own mind to another's. Not precisely, the guy says. We're able to share experiences through a telepathic link. I remember lessons and hours of practice. Were those all yours? And that's how much he's transmitted, and they talk about that for a while. So Taurus didn't go to the party. She went back to bed because she wanted to do more dreams with her guy. Then she dreams that she's somebody else, and this guy is warning her away from the guy in the bed. I don't get it. Then Bilanna is reporting to Cote that they've completed the modifications on the EPS conduits, and she has a crew starting on the backup systems. Can you get it done before we drop off the onions? Yes, we'll have to pull some longer shifts, but 2 days should do it. Is there something else in your mind? Those dreams I've been having, they're getting strange. In what way? Last night, in the middle of the dream, I was kissing him, my lover, and suddenly he was dead, burned. Bilanna, there's nothing going on, just a love affair. I'm having a relationship with this man, but my father doesn't approve, so we have to sneak around. It's like a new dream advances the story. It sounds like a hollow novel. It feels like it's exactly happening, physically, emotionally. It's no different from real life. I've never had dreams like this before. It can't be coincident that this is going on when we have a group of telepaths on board. Exactly. I want to find out about more these NRENs can do. See what happens. So then she dreams about being in town square of a planet that she's never been to before. Once I stood where you are during the early days of the interstellar exploration. It was an important leap for our people, and I was proud to be part of it. Today, with the advent of terraforming, we stand ready to take another leap forward into an era expansion and colonization. You will show us the way. There are some who resist progress. Do not let the voices of fear and ignorance discourage you. Claim your rightful place as leaders of a new era. This is the future of Enra in your hands. I'm not sure what's going on here. But then she talks about taking entrance exams. No idea. I've gone back and forth about 4 times, but it happened so quickly, it's hard to show it. Kes finds Bilanna on the floor in the hallway and takes her to sickbay. So Bilanna wakes up and she's like, "What happened?" And Kes says, "I found you unconscious in the corridor near engineering. I was dreaming again. Not according to your Cortel Theater wave readings. The pattern clearly indicated that you were experiencing memories, specifically implanted memories. Implanted by the Taurans? There's a strong evidence of telepathic activity in your frontal lobe. My experience with the N1's telepathy seems to be very different from yours. Jarrell was standing near me when I received his memories. Were there any N1s near you when you had your dreams? No, I was alone every time. You've also been asleep or unconscious every time. The shared memories feel like vivid dreams to you. In the lieutenant's case, the memories seem to have placed her in unconscious. They're only emerging when her conscious mind is inactive. Why did she pass out? The synaptic patterns of the implanted memories are not quite compatible with her neural pathways. There's been some minor cortical damage, which I've fixed. Can you prevent further damage? And then he gives her the inhibitor to prevent further dreams. And then Bilanna's like, "But if I don't dream, I won't know what happens." And she wants to know what happens. And Janeway takes her off duty for 2 days. So then they're back in the room, and they're talking with Burrell, Tuvok, Bilanna, and Janeway, and they're talking about the dreams that Bilanna's had. And well, I've heard of instances where members of the alien races have been affected by slight telepathic field we generate, but nothing as intense as what your lieutenant described. According to our doctor, they're memories. That's possible. She may be picking up stray thoughts and memories from every entrant on the ship. May be terribly confusing, but perhaps that's why her mind has organized it into a narrative. Are you saying I'm making this all up? Bilanna says. That's possible. She may be picking up stray thoughts and memories from every entrant on the ship. No. Some elements very well may come from actual experiences. I confess I've crawled into a bedroom window or two in my youth. You have mentioned a citizen award. There are several past recipients in our group. You may be contributing some small details to your story. So nothing really happened the way I remember it? It's highly unlikely, he says. I don't know. Methinks his nose is growing. So then after he leaves. Wait a second. I lost my place here. Tuvok says his explanation is plausible. And Bilanna's like, it was just really that real. So they'll see what happens. So it's an external picture of the ship again. You know what an external picture of the ship again means? Captain's log. Wait, can a person have a little bit of fun? Captain's log, stardate 50211.4. We're approaching Enora and preparing to host a farewell party for our guests. They've made every effort to help us understand their telepathic abilities, but it's still a mystery why they've affected Lieutenant Torres so strongly. So Bilanna goes in her room in very dramatic fashion, pauses, a whole bunch of little dramatic pauses for effect, and then takes the thing off her neck so she can dream again. So she's dreaming again, and Jareth comes in and says, "Are you ready?" And she says, "This is all voluntary, right?" Of course, although it's impossible to understand what these regressives want. They simply don't don't think like we do. How do we relate to people who refuse all but the most primitive technology, who live their lives without communication, interlink, or microfusion generators? It's the way they want to live, Bilanna says. Why can't they? Well, they can. That's why we're helping them to resettle, so that they can be comfortable practicing a way of life they've chosen. They could do that here in their village. Well, you wouldn't say that if you were ever inside that place. Do you realize they won't even use radio septics to sterilize their homes or their hands before they eat? It's a miracle they haven't started a plague by now. Then it's dangerous to have them living here. Yes, yes. We've been tolerant for a long time, but I think even now they realize that they'd be better off living somewhere else. But some of them want to stay here. Well, there are always some people who resist change even if they know it's for the best. I still don't understand what the F is going on here. So then she's in the square and they're moving people and they're checking IDs. And Bilanna's like, you'll have a new place to live, you'll be happy. Um and uh they're actually unwilling to leave. They don't want to leave. I still don't understand what's going on here. So then Bilanna recognized one of the crew members. So she wakes up and runs to that person's room. So she finds the elderly lady on the floor, and it turns out um it's the elderly lady who's been giving Bilanna these memories. So then she pulls her in again. So then she's back in her dream again and she's playing the instrument and that guy comes in and apparently he wants her to go with him. He's part of the resettlement and his uncle and his family have resettled 2 months ago. There's been no word from them. There's been no contact. He wants her to go with him to find out what happened. And he's heard that they've already been vaporized. They're all deceased. And he wants her to go with them. Uh, that it sounds a little Nazi-ish to me, what's going on. Um, So they have this big long conversation. He's trying to convince her to come with him to find out what happened. And he's snatched from her dreams, or her arms, should I say. So then these men are brought out and chained to posts and murdered because they were against the way of life that they were preaching. Um, they were told that they were criminals. So then her dream fast forwards many years, and Bilanna is explaining to the children why did they all move away? Because they didn't want to live with us anymore. Why? The regressive people had very strange ideas about how to live. They didn't want to learn new things or use any of the new technology that we tried to share with them. They decided to live somewhere else on their own, and we let them go. But they couldn't take very good care of themselves. They fought with each other and they spread disease and they all died. They destroyed themselves. It was very sad, but we can learn from their mistakes. That's why we keep the skate here, to remind us never to be stubborn and backward like they were. We'll all remember. I know you will. And then the dream ends because the elderly lady died. So then Bilanna goes into the mess hall and confronts them, accuses them of murderers. Um, she says, "You tried to hide what you did. I know, I saw everything. The regressive, the executions, wiping out an entire population and then blaming them for it. This is most uncomfortable, Captain. Perhaps a more private discussion? No. That's what you've been doing all along, hiding the truth, hoping it would just die away quietly. This has to come out." And Janeway's like, "What's going on here?" Uh, My dreams, they are real memories of Joe Morrell. When all of them were younger, there was a group of people who they called regressives. They just wanted to lead a different kind of life, but they don't exist anymore, do they? You exterminated them all. These accusations are untrue, he says. You spent your whole life covering it up, but then you realized that someone was passing the memories to me, and you used me to figure out who it was, and then you killed them. But you're too late, because Karina gave me the last of her memories before she died. Karina's dead? Yes. And you have evidence that she was murdered? No. They made it look like natural causes. You know, Lieutenant, that I spoke with Morel yesterday. I asked her specifically about the memories you experienced. She claimed not to know anything about it. Of course she would say that. She was afraid for her life. So then she comes up and says that Bilanna is lying, that they would never do anything like that. And Bilanna says it's the truth. I know that you don't want to believe it. In fact, they're counting on it. They always have. And then Kim says, I know Bilanna and I trust her. It can't hurt to listen. Nobody thinks you're lying, Lieutenant. The poor woman has been ill for a long time and her memories are distorted. I know that it's easier for you to believe that I'm crazy or hallucinating, but this woman shared her life, her whole identity with me. I was with her every step of the way as she convinced herself that what she did, betraying the man she loved, playing her part in a massacre, that was all somehow for the good of the Enron Society. She showed me everything. No apologies, no request for forgiveness, just the truth. At least she had the conscience to stand up and realize what she'd done wrong. And the guy's like, I think it's time to leave now. So Bilanna's talking to Janeway, explaining that she was just so angry. She's sorry for barging into the mess hall like that and making a big scene. But if you had seen what I had seen and all the killing and stuff like that, um, and Janeway said, I believe that the memories you experienced were real. Then we've got to do something. We have to make this public. You tried that today. They didn't want to listen. Then we have to find proof. Let's go down to the planet. Whatever the Enrons have done, it's not our place to bring them to justice. If they've chosen to conceal part of their history for their own descendants, that's their decision, whether we approve or not. It's not just a matter of history. This could happen again if no one knows about it. We simply have no right to get involved, Janeway says. Jarrell Morrell was murdered on the ship, which gives us a reason. I've got a full report from the doctor. He specifically looked for evidence to support your accusations. He didn't find any. We have no basis for a murder investigation. I released her body to the Enron, so that's it. I've canceled our trade negotiations as well as shore leave. We'll leave orbit as soon as they are off the ship. Bilanna, I believe the Enron engineers are collecting the last of their equipment now. Is there anything more you'd like to say to them? Thank you, Captain. And she leaves. Oh, before I forget, Prime Directive. We're not part of their peeps. I could go places with that, but I'm not political. So then the episode ends with Bilanna talking to Jensen over here, and just go down to when you get down to the planet, see if you can find the regressives. You do your shared memory thing. See if you can find out any proof that I was right. Any of these memories are valid, whatever, just for your own peace of mind. And then she has a dream with Jensen who reports in, and that's how the episode ends. And you don't get any details of the report or nothing. So that is the end of the episode. Please check in next week for Sacred Ground, and then Futures End Part 1. And don't forget, If Then Later this afternoon, JD Rub character spoilerizations tomorrow, unboxing on Sunday, if Flashback Monday, and of course my daily book reviews. And every night at 7:45 on the D. Louise Book Series channel, we're talking Diana Hamilton's Echo in the Bone, written in my own heart's blood. Go tell the bees that I'm gone. If we're lucky enough, the new book will be out soon. And or if the new book doesn't come out by the time we finish Go Tell the Bees, we'll go back to Outlander and start. I originally started the series with the books at the end of season 7. So we will go back and start from the beginning if the new book has not come out by that point. Have a good one.